Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Sunday School with me, your host, Sarah, in the Lux 10 Temple on Sunday, May 22nd, 2022. Lovely to see you all again. Thank you for tuning in. And we're going to get straight to our reading. How do we cultivate heaven upon earth? Or more recently, I've been thinking about how do we remember heaven upon earth? Because essentially, we are heaven upon earth. We are the macrocosm and the microcosm in our bodies. We can actually activate and remember our divine totality within our bodies. It's called enlightenment. Most of us are not even seeking enlightenment in this lifetime, but the earth plane certainly has more darkness than light at this juncture. And so what we're seeking to do is even it out, to balance it out. Heaven and earth are both necessary. But as you probably noticed, if you look around and read the news and you look at the expression on most people's faces and you see the concern and worry and the detrimental anxiety issues that are going on in our society right now, and trauma and all that stuff, you can easily see that we need more light, we need more love, we need more harmony. That's what we're working on. Remembering, it's all within us. It's all within us. When we live from our heart, the heart has no fear. The heart has no fear. The heart is love. It connects with everything. It connects with the flow, the way, the entirety of our consciousness and our potentiality. So we're going to do something a little different this week. And I'm mixing it up lately. I want to use the archetypal deck. So this beautiful, beautiful archetype deck by Kim Krans, who did the Wild Unknown deck, which is very popular. So archetypes are something in the esoteric world that are seen as a higher realm of heaven when you start to see things from above, from the eagle eye, the solar consciousness. One of the meanings of heaven, when you look it up in the etymology, is simply the firmament or the sky. So that's really to just shift your perspective on things and to see the big picture. And when you start to see the big picture, you start to realize that everyone is just living different stories at different times with all of these repeating archetypes. And for a quick definition of archetype, we're just going to say a symbol which encompasses human experience, a symbol which may encompass or represent human experience. So we're going to look at, for all of you, what is the archetype that is going to help you to remember or cultivate your heaven upon earth this week, okay? Whatever time you're watching this, it's going to still apply. So right now, I want you guys to pick a number, 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3, okay? I'm going to pull a card for each one of you guys, and that is going to be the archetype, which is going to help you somehow this week. It's going to come into play. Maybe subtle, you may not even realize it, but it will be there this week if you're watching this. Okay, so if you picked number 1, the archetype which is going to help you out this week to cultivate heaven upon earth. I really got 2 cards, but the siren. Oh my God, the siren is reversed though. What is a siren? Siren is, the mermaid. Actually, sirens were originally bird beings. They were kind of like harpies, okay? And then they got turned into mermaids because they lured sailors from their ships with their beautiful singing voices. So the siren always has an aspect of seduction to it. And also think of sirens on ambulances. Alarm, alarm, alarm. And when a sailor who's going through a struggle, going through a difficult time, navigating through generally an unknown sea in the siren tales, the siren mythologies, when the siren calls the sailor is tempted by the song as something which is going to relieve him from his stresses, from his difficulty, from his struggle and his strife. But the siren is an escape, and it's ultimately an illusion. And anything which is an escape, an illusion, a temptation, simply pulls us into the karmic cycle of samsara, okay? Samsara is the hamster wheel of desire. And when we are lured by our lower natures through desire over and over again into something that appears as instant gratification, it usually ends up devouring us in one way or another. And so the trick is not to rid yourself of desire, as many religions and practices will say. The trick is to learn to manage your desire and to make your desire work for you, which is the most difficult thing. It's also called the middle path. And so when you hear the siren song this week, the siren song could be like a hot dude on Bumble. It could be a drink after work and then 2 or 3. It could be, you know, some indulgent trip that you want to take, but you're not really prepared for it. It could be an ice cream. Like, it could be getting on the internet and checking your social media 20 times a day. So the siren is whatever that thing is that appears to be infinitely alluring and beautiful and almost hypnotic to you, where you want to throw yourself away to indulge and dive in to someone else's song or something else's song. So manage your desire for whatever that siren is to you this week, okay? That means if it's a person, go into it consciously and say, I see that I could disappear into this person, but I don't want to fall into that cycle of losing my autonomy and having to die by losing my autonomy. So I'm going to just take a bite instead, and then I'm going to walk away and check in with myself and see how I feel. Or I'm just going to allow myself to have, you know, one ice cream. I like ice cream, if you guys can't tell. So whatever it is, just allow yourself to have a bit of it. If you're a heroin addict, don't do that. You know, some people I know have to have none. So if you're a person that has to have none, okay? There are certain people that have very extreme natures that have to have none and cannot moderate. But I do certainly encourage moderation of the siren, because we do need that seductive aspect of desire in our lives to really feel alive and passionate. Okay, so moderate your desire and your experience of the siren. Okay, number two, what's going to help you bring heaven to earth this week? Okay, well, the underworld reversed. Well, that's for you guys, huh? Okay, the underworld reversed. Well, I mean, the first thing I'm thinking is illumination. So illuminate what the underworld is for you. Don't be afraid to look at what the underworld is. That represents your subconscious, what has died, what has come before, the struggles that you have been through. Okay, so one thing that's coming through is to take a moment and take stock of where you are now and where you've been and where you've come from. A lot of you guys have been doing a lot of work. And look back at the trials and traumas and tribulations that you've been through, and take a moment to have gratitude for yourself, for persevering and for getting through that. You still are here on the earth. It hasn't killed you. It hasn't taken you out, okay? And what else do I want to say about the underworld as far as how we bring heaven to earth? So part of bringing heaven to earth is simply awareness of the underworld at all times. Know it's there. Know that it could take you down at any moment. Now, the underworld is really what we fall into in terms of stagnation. And depression is actually a form of stagnation. And it's where we stagnate in the past, essentially. And it's usually an emotional past. It's usually an imprint. It's usually a pain body. So be aware, know clearly what the underworld is for you, and don't fear it. Number one, do not fear it. And also, you may need to get in touch with some dark goddess energies, okay? So that's going to be like Lilith, Hecate, even the moon goddesses like Artemis, maybe crone energy. Those are very underworld energies. And even for masculine energies, it may be like Saturn or Pluto. You know, Saturn is the reaper and Pluto is the lord of the underworld. So you may need to get more into touch with those, also like the Inanna and 𝒐𝒓𝒂𝒄𝒍𝒆, I can barely say her. But then also the Black Goddess, the Black Madonna would be another good one too. And that's the ancient grotto goddesses, which were really what, you know, Mary originally started off as. Like she stemmed from an earth mother, earth goddess, and was originally paired, the earth and the grotto goddesses of the sacred flowing waters, which is really the womb of creation. And in heavenly terms, it's the cosmic womb, but on earth, it's represented by flowing waters, caves, grottos, underworld bodies of water. So really those goddesses are really just the dark and the light of the same thing. So start to get to know some underworld aspects if that's foreign to you, or balancing them and bringing them into the light if you have them separate from your regular day-to-day life. Anything else about the underworld? No, that's all I'm going to say. So whatever the underworld is to you, really get in touch with that and illuminate it and bring it into the light to harmonize it with your everyday being and all your past experiences. Bring those into the light as well. Weave them into who you are. They are all important. Okay, number 3, how do you bring heaven to earth this week? How do you remember your heaven on earth this week? For number 3, I feel like I'm doing an auction this way. It's very funny. The Maiden. Ooh, this is such a nice, pretty card. Okay, so the Maiden, very, very different energy. It is reversed. Okay, so the Maiden is youth. The Maiden is fertility. The Maiden, the word is fecund, F-E-C-U-N-D, fecund. That's the word. Verdant, green. Resurrecting the Maiden, because the Maiden is shown reversed, which indicates that something about number 3 has forgotten the Maiden or repressed the Maiden. Okay, the Maiden is ever present within us. Okay, so the Maiden is that brand new fertile bloom of sexuality, of creativity, of sensual indulgence, of innocent exploration. Okay, we all have life experience that drags us down and jades us, and also the world that we live in is very hard on aging, especially aging women. So it's really important to remember that we are not our bodies. We are a bunch of archetypes in a temporary vessel, which goes through a child, maiden, mother, crone. Same thing for the masculine. You know, but you guys get what I'm saying. We all go through these phases from youth to maturity, but we all carry all of the phases with us at all times. So unleash the maiden, that freshness for group number 3. And if you don't feel this in you or in your body, go ahead and plant some seeds. Get in touch with flowers, get in touch with herbs, get in touch with the actual earth, new and renewed growth and exploration, and even just femininity and innocence. Stories of innocence and becoming. Okay, I hope you guys all enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy and experience and are aware of your archetype in this week. Please feel free to share, comment, like, all that stuff. DM me. I think I have barely any availability on my calendar right now. So if you want a reading, I'm happy to help you out with that, but you probably have to DM me due to my scarce availability, but I'd be happy to figure something out with you. Okay, love you guys, and I'll see you next